The American Empire State Building, a timeless symbol of engineering marvel, rises majestically over the New York City skyline. But beyond its iconic facade lies a treasure trove of engineering secrets that have captivated the world for decades. Today we'll unravel all the mysteries of the engineering wonders of the Empire State Building in New York, America. We will begin with the bombing aircraft that accidentally crashed. Let's dive straight in. The most famous building in the United States, the Empire State Building, was unintentionally struck by a bomber plane in 1945. The building survived despite the anticipated devastation caused by fire, impact, and engine damage. The incredible 443-meter-tall steel structure of the skyscraper is held together by the precise work of steelworkers, referred to as the Sky Boys, who aligned and riveted the structure with such precision. This accomplishment required steely nerves in addition to skill. For 40 years, the Empire State Building was the tallest structure in the world. It was the first in history to rise more than 100 stories and was built in just 14 months. The building, which was initially designed as a dirigible mooring dock, rises in a sequence of setbacks and culminates in a bold tower that is stunning in both its height and its Art Deco simplicity. 12 of the 210 steel columns that make up the building's spine extend unbroken to the summit. For enormous strength, girders had to be connected to these columns during construction. Simple-looking derricks were used to lift these heavy components to significant heights. This process took precision and labor over 13 months, but the end product was a durable steel structure. Innovative techniques were used during construction, such as aligning columns vertically before fastening them in place with a string trick. Sky Boys had to work in unison to rivet or bolt the columns together. It was a painstaking process where every job, including the catcher guys, had to be done correctly. The Empire State Building's architectural style is known as Art Deco. This design movement, which became well known in the 1920s and 1930s, sets itself apart with contemporary styles, exquisite craftsmanship, and frequently lavish details. The Exposition Internationale des Arts Décoratifs et Industriels Modernes, an exhibition held in Paris in 1925, is where the term Art Deco originated and where the style first became well known worldwide. The Empire State Building is a classic example of Art Deco architecture, which strongly with great fanfare, the Empire State Building opened for business on May 1, 1931. The tower was lit up with a button push by President Herbert Hoover, a ribbon cutting, and a speech by Mayor Jimmy Walker. The Empire State Building is a prime example of Art Deco architecture, which places a strong emphasis on symmetry, vertical lines, and contemporary materials like steel and concrete. Art Deco favors geometric forms, clean lines, and ornate decoration over the natural themes that typified Art Nouveau. These aesthetic characteristics are seen in the Empire State Building's tapering shape, striking geometric silhouette, and stylized decorative elements. The building's dramatic vertical emphasis is provided by its stepped, tiered design, which is a common feature of Art Deco architecture and directs the eye upward. It also complies with the zoning regulations of the time, which mandated setbacks to let air and light into the streets below. The outcome is an exquisite fusion of form and function, encapsulated in a style that perfectly captures the essence of its time. Next came the construction of the steel skeleton, which got underway on March 17, 1930. The vertical frame consisted of 210 steel columns. 12 of these, excluding the mooring mast, ran the full height of the structure. The length of the other sections vary from 6 to 8 stories. Since the steel girders could only be raised 30 stories at a time, the girders had to be passed up to the higher floors using several sizable crane derricks. When the workers fastened the girders together, passers-by would pause and stare up at them. Crowds gathered frequently to view the work. The workers were depicted by Harold Butcher, a correspondent for the London Daily Herald, as being physically present and appearing extremely casual, while also crawling, climbing, walking, swinging, and swooping on massive steel frames. Observing the riveters was equally, if not more, fascinating. The gunman, the bucker-up, the catcher, and the heater passer all worked in groups of 4. About 10 rivets were inserted into the blazing forge by the heater. When they were red hot, he would remove a rivet with 3-foot tongs and throw it, usually 50 to 75 feet, to the catcher. The rivet was still extremely hot, so the catcher used an old paint can that someone had started using instead of a brand new catching can. The catcher would take the rivet out of the cam with his other hand using tongs, tap it against a beam to get rid of any cinders, and insert the rivet into one of the holes in a beam. The gunman would use a compressed air-powered riveting hammer to drive the rivet into the girder, where it would fuse while the bucker-up supported the rivet. These men worked upwards of 1,000 feet from the ground to the 102nd floor. The building's floors are made of straightforward terracotta blocks that lock between floor beams to ensure structural integrity despite its intricate construction. The characteristic curtain wall design was created by the alternating pattern of limestone and glass panels, which concealed visible columns in the exterior walls that required spandrel beams. Excellent engineering planning and the simultaneous execution of several tasks allowed for the management of the enormous construction project. 3,400 people were employed on the project, and the lift system was split into 7 sections to allow for efficient access to the top floor. 17 meters below the surface, the building's foundation depended on the dense subterranean stone of New York to support its enormous weight. The remainder of the Empire State Building was constructed in an incredibly efficient manner. To move materials quickly, a railway was constructed at the construction site. The materials were moved with less effort because each railway car had a cart pushed by people who were 8 times stronger than those pushing a wheelbarrow. The builders used innovation to cut costs, save labor, and save time. Starrett had trucks dump the 10 million bricks needed for construction down a chute that led to a hopper in the basement, as opposed to the usual practice of dumping the bricks in the street. The bricks would be extracted from a hopper as needed, falling into carts that were raised to the proper floor. This procedure removed the need for streets to be closed to store bricks and also reduced the amount of back-breaking labor involved in wheelbarrowing the bricks from the pile to the bricklayer. Plumbers and electricians started installing the building's internal necessities while the structure's exterior was being built. Each trade's start time was precisely calibrated. The facade of the building featured an innovative curtain wall design. Compared to other skyscrapers built at the time, the building's 6,500 windows were integrated into the wall, simplifying the stonework and using 75% less stone. At the height of construction in September 1930, 14 floors were finished in 10 days thanks to the curtain wall design, which allowed the walls of the tower to be set at a rate of 1 story per day. The architects Shreve, Lamb and Harmon Associates created the Empire State Building, which was developed by Roscoe and Smith. The structural engineer was Homer Gage Balcom, who also designed the Waldorf Astoria Hotel, the Chrysler Building, the Rockefeller Center, and the Grand Central Terminal. Balcom was a pioneer in tall building design that considered lateral wind forces. The top spire, made of glass, steel, and aluminium, was initially intended to be a radical design. It served as a mooring mast for airships, blimps, and dirigibles, which loaded and unloaded passengers and goods. To handle imports and visitors, the building would even have customs offices. However, multiple tests showed that the wind conditions in New York City were too strong for airship docking to be safe. In the future, the spire would also be used as a television antenna by several TV stations in New York. However, the building's 1,472-foot spire increased its height. On the winter solstice afternoon, the Empire State Building casts a shadow that stretches over a mile in length. Floodlights were added to the building in 1964 to provide nighttime illumination. The colors of the lights were selected to correspond with significant occasions in the city's history. The colors are selected to commemorate significant occasions, athletic competitions, well-known people, etc. The ESB does not provide lighting for private events like birthdays, anniversaries, political campaigns, or commercial or religious gatherings by its policies. The Empire State Run-Up is a vertical race to the 86th floor that has taken place inside the Empire State Building since 1978. A vertical distance of 1,050 feet, or 1,576 steps, is run by participants. Sometimes are less than 10 minutes in the record. To the film King Kong, we can owe the survival of the Empire State. The building appears in more than 100 films, according to the ESP official website. With great fanfare, the Empire State Building opened for business on May 1, 1931. The tower was lit up with a button push by President Herbert Hoover, a ribbon cutting, and a speech by Mayor Jimmy Walker. Incredibly, the entire Empire State Building was built in just a year and 45 days. The Empire State Building was completed within budget and on schedule. The Great Depression dramatically reduced labor costs. so the building came in at only $40,948,900 less expensive than anticipated, a $50 million price tag. The building's sophisticated engineering concepts, which combine astute planning, inventive construction techniques, and the capacity to overcome obstacles associated with constructing such a towering structure, are responsible for its grandeur and status as a symbol of architectural excellence. These achievements are proof of the human capacity for resourcefulness and the unwavering spirit of inventiveness. If you like the video content that we provide on this channel, please feel free to leave a comment below. Please hit the like and subscribe buttons for more videos. I'll see you in the upcoming videos.